You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Cabral Concept. So good to have you with me here today. Can't wait to get the week started off right. One of my favorite topics is this. It's looking at the future and bringing it back to the present. There are three areas of our life that we need to be focused on every single day of our life, but we overlook them simply because we say, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll do it next week, or I'll do it next year. But the years pass faster than we could ever imagine, and you probably have seen that in your own life. So what I want to do today is bring the future to the present and allow us to bring into focus the things that should be important to us right now, but we're willing to trade off simply because we're so busy. And I want to show you how these three areas of your life are going to make you more successful in every area of your life and a whole lot happier. I found this at a younger age simply because I was sicker than most, right? And because of that, I learned the valuable lesson of the shortness of life. And because of that valuable lesson, I've been able to take it now through my years and hopefully been able to teach that to many people out there around the globe. And one thing that I've seen for sure is that when you focus on these three specific areas, it does make the big five that I talk about, career and body transformation and spirituality, relationships, etc., a whole lot better. And that's because you are caring for you. And so often in life, we simply push that to the side. And it's not that we're not well-intentioned. It's not that we don't want to take care of ourselves. It's because we simply don't put it as that high of a priority. So what I want to show you today is that it doesn't take a lot of time, but when you begin to bring in these three specific areas, not just the body, that you will be, I believe, light years ahead when it comes to achieving all the goals and all that you want in your life. All right, so let's get started. Let's dive right into the show. There are three main areas. The first one is this. And of course, I've mentioned this before. We talk about this on a lot of shows, so I'm not going to give you as much specifics, but I want to give you the why. That's what Motivation and Mindset Mondays, yes, we'll give you the how. We give you the SMART-based goal setting formula. We give you the 12-week year. You know, we do talk about the how, but today it's a lot about that why. And the first area is this, so often overlooked, is our body. Now, it's not your body in terms of necessarily how it looks. It's your body as in, what are you doing today that's going to keep this same body 30 years from now? 40 years from now, or for me, goal-wise, 50, 60 years from now, right? I mean, that's a big thing to think about. But how often do we see people not exercising at all? You know, the human body was meant to move, and it was meant to do some manual labor. The way that we recreate that for most of us, since we're not doing manual labor, is that we exercise. We do some cardio, we do some strength training, we do intervals, which is sprinting essentially, all things that humans would have naturally done. And I've shared that and how to do those workouts almost every week on our Thursday shows. So you're welcome to go back and listen to those previous shows. And I would, of course, love you to do that so that you build upon the information. Remember, no one show, no one book, no one article, no one system is going to be that end-all be-all. The goal is to learn and continue to build off of this deep foundation. And that's what I want for you. So one thing that I want to talk about this is that your amount of exercise and movement will need to be balanced with your level of recovery. So for example, if, not that you should be doing this, but if you're only getting 6 hours of sleep per night, you cannot be crushing your body with a lot of manual labor, like a manual labor job. let's say that you're in construction or you're in, I can't even think of another manual labor job right now, but like if you're in big manual labor jobs, moving your body all day long. And that's what I did all through my teenage years, essentially, is movement, manual labor type jobs on my feet. I would teach sailing. I'd be pulling up boats. I'd be doing all sorts of different things. And it's great. But you have to understand is your body needs then recovery with that, So I started to wear down my body because I did that all day. And then I would go and I would work out at night. And then I would oftentimes work a second job at night too. And that would wear down the body. So you want to look at that in terms of balance. But everybody needs to be moving that body. There's two more parts to this, and that's this. Just on the body part is that you have to understand is that this body is what's going to allow you to do all the things that you want to do. You might think about retirement, right? Like, oh, okay, in retirement, I want to travel and I want to be able to play with my grandkids and I want to be able to, have a second career, whatever it might be. Well, that most likely is not going to be as great a reality as you're envisioning it if you have joint issues, if you have osteoporosis, if you have inflammatory diseases, etc. So what we need to do is work on our health, right? I mean, that's a big part of this, our health and the physical structure of our body. It's so important. You cannot put this off. The aches and pains of today, the grogginess, the bloating, the headaches, the skin issues of today become the diseases 5 to 10 years from now. There is a disease process, and I've taken you through the 6 phases of disease. I've done a previous podcast on that, on homotoxicology, and I've gone through the 6 phases in Ayurveda. They're basically the same as homotoxicology, which is a bioregulatory medicine term. It's amazing. I hope that you check out those podcasts as well. And then traditional Chinese medicine has the same 6 phases as well. So when you look at that, everybody has these phases. Well, when you look at being groggy in the morning, when you look at bloating, when you look at lower mood, lower stamina, brain fog, and you look at skin rashes and headaches and some stiffness, they're not a disease. No, they're symptoms, but they're moving towards what will one day be diagnosed as a disease as the body overflows its rain barrel. So this is how the body works. A plant does not die overnight. Eventually, if it doesn't get enough sunlight or it doesn't get enough water, it will die. But what happens is this: too much water, too much sunlight can also kill a plant. That's also an important factor when looking at food, nutrition, and exercise. Not too much, the right amount for the right person. That's always what it's about. So this is important. And everyone needs a place to start, okay? So if you're not working up to your 10,000 steps per day, it's crucial that you do that. Now, there'll always be outliers in life. That's not like necessarily a bad thing. It's like, okay, well, I mean, there's some people, well, first of all, there are some people that can't walk. They can't do 10,000 steps per day. Understood. There are other things that we can do. If you can use those arms, you're going to use an ergometer. You're just going to pump. You're going to do your cardio that way. Totally fine. And then some people have foot ankle-based issues, and so maybe they can do an exercise bike. I'm talking about moving your body to the equivalent of what would be 10,000 steps a day. So a little harder if you can't do those 10,000 steps specifically, because that equates to, well, about 100 minutes of walking a day. And you might say, well, that's a lot of walking. Well, really think about this. 100 minutes of walking a day over the 16 hours that you're awake is only about an hour and a half. So that means out of the 16 hours, you're only doing an hour and a half of being on your feet. That's almost nothing. It's very little. Our ancestors were, it's theorized. I mean, we're not going to be able to get it exact, but they were somewhere around 18,000 steps per day. So when we look at that, we say, okay, well, 10,000 steps, that's a great goal. Now, again, the average person is doing about 3,000, 3,500 steps per day, about 35, 40 minutes or so of walking around. So, and that's just like to and from their car, to the train, to around the office, whatever it is, picking up the kids. So here's the thing though, that's a fine place to start. Great, better than nothing. Now, you don't have to go right to 10,000. You can go to 4,500 steps, right? Just add 10 more minutes of walking. About 10 minutes of walking is about 1,000 steps for most people. Start to work that, and then you can get into more of your exercise and go back and listen to those specific podcasts. But the other part is this. And I'm going to be talking so much more about this. Like, to me now, the more I realize the benefits of sweating, which sounds kind of strange, the more I realize it's one of the reasons why humans are not as healthy. we have basically our outer coating, we're going to put it that way, is meant to be the largest excretory organ of the body, which means it's the best way to get rid of toxins. And now, today, more than ever, and next year will be more than ever, and the year after that the same, there'll be more toxins in the environment than ever before, over 77,000 and counting. The World Health Organization puts it at around 100,000 toxins man-made in the United States alone. So this is extremely important to look at that. Now, we have this vehicle, our skin, to remove a lot of those toxins, but we don't use it. People, they probably don't even sweat. I mean, if you're not exercising, when are you sweating, right? So you can use exercise as a vehicle to sweat, which will be great, but also you can use a sauna. And I've really thought a lot about this, and saunas they're expensive for the most part. And this is something that I want to be bringing more to people. Whenever I see a problem, like I make a recommendation and then people say, but yeah, the saunas are $800 all the way up to $6,000 or $8,000. And I get it. Like I understand, like that's what it is for a good sauna. We are working on something to get that price way down, lower than anything out there right now. And the way that we're going to be able to do this is to kind of do it at scale. So we're hoping to have these portable saunas out in December. The only reason I bring that up is because I feel so strongly about the research and sauna and heat and sweat that I think that this is something that people need to be doing on a near daily basis, just like exercise. I really believe that. Now, if you are exercising and you're working up a good sweat, well, there you go. You're doing a great job and you're sweating and you're using your skin as that excretory organ. So just keep that in mind. Humans need to be moving, they need to be sweating, and they need to take care of their internal health, getting rid of their toxicities, as well as working on replacing their deficiencies. Super important. And the overall reason why is that you cannot continue to put it off. If you put it off, there's no doubt in my mind, because I've just seen it play out now, working with over 250,000 client appointments, that you saw the signs for years previous, but you said, I don't have the time. I'm going to do it later. I'm going to make it happen. And then all of a sudden, now we're in a state where it's going to be more challenging to recover. Can you recover? Yes, you can, and you will, but let's not get there in the first place. Let's keep you healthy now. Let's not worry about the clogged arteries. Let's not worry about the potential for stroke or cancer or whatever it might be. Let's do everything we can right now. And it also leaves you with no regrets. Like if you're doing your best right now and something does happen in the future, well, you can't get down on yourself because you tried and you did your best. And so that's very, very important. All right. That's the first area that gets so often overlooked, is our vehicle that's carrying us through life. Okay. Honestly, you have to take care of it. Remember, think about this. What if you were told you would only get one car for the rest of your life? That's it. That's it. Would you take it in for regular oil changes? Would you give it, premium, really good gas? Would you make sure that you weren't driving it too crazy? Hopefully, because that's all you get. And that's all you get with your body. And you have to take care of it. You really do. You don't get another one. You can look at joint replacements and all of these things, fine. But much better to keep your original body intact, because I've worked with hundreds of people with joint replacements, and it's not their original body. It works. They do great after it's done, but there's rehab involved, and there's still like a little bit of, it's not quite right? Because it's not quite your natural body. So let's do our best to keep ourselves healthy right now, right? Let's bring that future to today. The second one is this, and this is something we talk a lot about in health coaching, is helping people help others. But I want to use this as an overall scale of, we need to be looking at our careers and our ability to not just live paycheck to paycheck and break even. And a lot of people don't like to talk about money, and they look at it as evil and all of those different types of things. And I think that's one of the limiting factors in a lot of people's lives. And I want to share with you why. I have always followed my passion and my pursuit of doing what I feel I was put here to do. That's it. Now, having said that, I always wanted to make sure that I was able to take care of my family. Like that's basically the bottom line. But I look at it this way, is that there are so many things that people struggle with in life. And a lot of them could be fixed or have to do with making a little bit more money. And the reason why I say this is because I look at the statistics. A lot of people can't afford to do the at-home lab testing that would then allow them to look inside their body and actually see what their deficiencies are and the toxicities are. Wouldn't that be great if everyone was able to afford those? Or wouldn't it be great if everybody was able to afford the $5 a day for daily foundational protocol? Or wouldn't it be great if people were able to take a dream vacation a year where they get to go to on their bucket list of over the next 10 years, we're going to go to our top 10 destinations and we're going to be able to see the world and we're going to be able to share these experiences with our children or our friends or our parents, whatever it might be. Wouldn't that be amazing? So here's the thing. I am not a person who strives for a lot of money or any types of those, but I want to make sure that I'm able to accomplish all of those goals. And we live in a world, at least for right now, where the only way you can buy a plane ticket is with money. The only way that you can get those at-home lab tests is with money. The only way that you can, stay at those dream locations is with money. And so what I want people to do is not view money as something as evil, but I want them to view it as something that gives them options and that allows for more freedom. Remember, if you didn't need money, well, you'd be free to do whatever it is that you want to do, right? You'd be free to maybe exercise more. You'd be free to purchase more healthy foods for you. You could do those at-home lab tests, right? You can do all of those things. So that's why I don't want to look at this as a bad thing. I want to look at it as, oh, this is a good thing. Because if we do that and we don't look at money for the sake of making money, but rather as we look at that extra income as a way of accomplishing our goals, well, that's a really nice way of looking at it. And I also don't want you to keep putting off life and your goals because it takes money to accomplish them. Here's what I've seen work in a lot of people's lives in my own life, is that you have your regular job, whatever that may be, but you have that regular job. But what if you could do 1 hour or maybe 2 hours outside of that, making some income, moonlighting for some type of hobby, or even something that you don't love to do, it's some type of temp work, but you can do it, you can handle it. And while you're doing that work, you know that it's a great means to an end. That it's allowing you to then save that money, because you want to look at it this, that extra money, that extra income would be used just for saving. And let's say that you can make an extra $250 a week. I'm just using that as a number. $250 a week. I don't know how many hours that might take you. Maybe if you're being paid $25 an hour, again, I'm just using that because it's simple math for my mind, that's $250 for the week, right? So if we look at that, well, that's an extra $1,000 or so a month. Well, what if we could save that over 12 months? We would have around $12,000. Again, I'm just using simple math for right now. And we could say, okay, with that money, we could either spend it on whatever we were looking to spend that on for the year, or you could look at it as saving that over a number of years and then having that money to, well, we'll fall back on as a rainy day fund or for something that you are saving for. And these are just examples. I'm not a money manager. I'm not someone giving you advice on your overall finances. But what I'd like to see is I'd like you to do something that moves you forward. It might not even be, like I said, working those moonlight hours. But what if you started something right now, such as an online course or some type of degree or a certification, or you just began to do an internship somewhere, something that will allow you in the next year or two to step into a career or a moonlighting-based job that would then allow you to make additional income, hopefully doing something that you love as well. That would be the best of all worlds. Well, when I couldn't get a job as a full-time personal trainer right out of college, what I was doing was working at a job that I didn't really love. I worked from 8 o'clock in the morning till about 5 o'clock at night. I checked in and I checked out. I did my work. I did it to the best of my ability, that's for sure. But at the same time, I was trying to build a career as a nutritionist, strength and conditioning specialist, and personal trainer. And I did that at night. And then that started to go well, and then I got hired at a much larger location. And that was great as well. And then I transitioned full time. And what did that take? Well, maybe it took like 8 months or so. So everyone has their own path. And sometimes, of course, we want it to happen yesterday, but today's a great day to start working on that as well. So my goal for you is to look towards the future of what you want to accomplish and begin to bring it into the now. That's always when it happens, right? It always happens in the now. Now, it doesn't mean you accomplish it overnight, but it happens now. So the reason why I bring this into an overlooked area of life is that most of us are working. You're taking care of your family, you're working a job, maybe you're already working 2 jobs, right? So I look at it like this. What can we do in the short term, maybe working a few extra hours that would then pay off dividends in the future so that we don't have to work super hard until we're 68 years old, which is like typical retirement. And, the unfortunate thing is we might get 10 more years of life after retirement. And when I look at that, I say, this is a broken system. What can we do that we can love our work now as we almost feel like, well, we would almost do this for free? Or maybe we would continue to do this late into our 60s or so, but we might just do less hours. So that's how I'm trying to look at things and trying to help people. And it's also why I believe being a health coach is just one of the greatest things in the world. One is hopefully you're living that lifestyle, beginning to live that lifestyle now, and then you're teaching it to others. And you can do it forever. You can be a health coach forever. I have friends in their 50s and 60s, legitimately, that are in the health and coaching-based business. And many of them are personal trainers well into their 50s and early 60s. And they can be doing personal training, and they can be doing health coaching and life coaching, because by then they have a lot of life experience. And it's a great field. And imagine 20 years from now what it's going to look like. And you're going to be able to do this in person, virtually with people all over the world, just like you can do now. It's just going to be the norm then, for sure. All right. So again, I bring this up simply because I don't want you to shortchange yourself now because you're struggling with living paycheck to paycheck. And I know it's easier said than done. Believe me, I understand that. But I want you to think about it. I don't want you to overlook it. And that's why I brought that up today. Number 3 is this. The last part is this, is that it's not enough just for the physical. It's not enough just for the financial. We need to do things that keep us young creatively. So when you were a child, you most likely dreamed. You had dreams. You had daydreams. You were someone that thought a lot creatively as well. I need you to bring a little bit of that back into your life. This is where I think that having a little quiet time and be able to envision the future life that you want to bring into the now is so important. And what I've done is this is one of the best ways that I've been able to do this because my mind likes to say no to me quite a bit. So what I do is I try to override all those subconscious and safety and security and, trying to keep me in my comfort zone. So what I do is this, is I just simply look back on my life, where I started, where I came from, and how I've developed, and how I accomplished what I thought then were major, major goals, and then how they led to additional accomplishments. And everybody's accomplishments are uniquely their own. So what I accomplished might seem small compared to others, or it might seem large compared to others. All that matters is it's for you. But I want you to look at them as stepping stones, that's it, right? Or a ladder's even better. You walked up one rung of that ladder maybe every couple years. So what I've done now is I can look at that and say, well, never thought I'd get to where I am today, but here I am. And 5 years ago, I never thought I'd get to there, and 5 years from 5 years before that. So let me not limit myself on what I believe I can achieve, and let me look back and say I'm grateful for all of those experiences that's led me to where I am today. And the perspective that I'm an evolving person, that my interests continued to grow and my education experience continues to grow. So why wouldn't my accomplishments continue to grow? And you can look at it like that, not from an ego-based perspective. Remember, accomplishments are your life's resume. It's what you do for you, never do for others. So of course, you're here to serve and help others, which is absolutely going to help you in your own life. But what you want to look at is, how can you get the most out of this life? Like, what are your dreams? What are they for you? Because your dreams about where you are going and where you want to go. And that is uniquely you. I can't give that to you. A lot of people say like, well, what should mine be? I don't know what yours are. But what I oftentimes start with is, well, what would you love to be doing if money wasn't an issue? What would you be doing? And how can we bring some of that into your life right now? And then I also look at it as, what's the creative part of you? And what are your hobbies outside of work, raising a family, and taking care of loved ones, etc.? Like, what are those hobbies outside of that you would like to be doing that you could be doing right now? And again, I'm not looking for a lot of time right now. What I want you to do is anchor those a bit into your AM and PM routine. And if you don't know what those are, I'd love you to go back and listen to previous shows on that. Because everyone can. You can. I'm telling you, you can do this. Carve out a little time in the morning. It simply means you need to get up a little bit before everyone else in your family or whatever your requirements are. And that's your time. It's a time where you can journal, you can meditate, you can make yourself a nice breakfast, you can have some tea to relax. But that's your time. And you can journal and you can start to use your creativity. You can start to dream about what this life can and should be for you. And then you can use that in the morning. Again, you don't have to do anything all day long, but it will stay in your mind. That's a great thing, right? It'll start to eat at you a little bit, but in a good way. Saying, hey, we need to move forward with this. We need to get a little bit more of these hobbies and dreams and goals and creativity in our life now. And then you can anchor that specifically at the end of the day. Before you go to bed, what did that day look like? Go back to your goals. Go back to your dreams. Let your mind wander. Get back to being a kid a little bit. I see now my two daughters, and I'll be looking over at them, and I can just see those eyes go up to the left. That's the visualization, right? I don't teach them that. We know how to do that naturally as a child. And I don't ask because I don't want to interrupt that thought. But I look at them and I say, oh, I wonder what they're daydreaming about right now. So go back to a little bit of that. Have a quiet lunch. You don't always have to have lunch with everyone in your office or lunch dates with people. Have a quiet lunch to yourself. Allow yourself to think. I mean, it's really okay. We've gotten away from this as humans that we have to be busy 100% of the time, but give yourself that quiet time. Go for a walk. Don't set an agenda. You can take 20 minutes. You can. And if you can't, we need to relook at life, right? We need to look at that. Well, you might say, well, I'm picking up my kids at lunch. Okay. Well, 20 minutes before you pick up your kids, can you do that? And if you can't, okay, can you do it 20 minutes after you drop off your kids in the morning? Or you say, well, I go right from work to home. I understand that. Well, what about your lunch while you're at work? Can you do it then? You say, I take lunch at my desk. Okay. Can you keep your laptop open or your computer open so that it looks like you're working, but take 20 minutes to daydream to yourself? Your productivity will still be better because you've gotten a little bit of time to yourself. So I'm telling you right now, these are the three major overlooked areas in life. I could talk about this for another hour, 2 hours, 3 hours in a row for sure. But the only reason we don't do them is because we keep telling ourselves we're too busy. Not now. I'll do that next week, next month, next year. And we all know that those years roll one into the other, into the other. Next thing we do, we look back and we say, oh, I wish I did this. I wish I did that. Or if only. I don't want you to say that to yourself. I want you to begin to look at life. And the goal of life is that we don't forget about what we wanted or put it too far in the future so that when we're 85 years old, we look back and we say, oh, I wish I took care of my body. Wish I took care of my joints. I wish I took care of my health. Or I wish I got to do a little bit more of what I loved and wanted to do in life. I wish I started those hobbies earlier, those passions earlier. I wish I worked on a different career path or a different goal path or made a little bit more income only to take that, to do that travel that I wanted to, or to be able to do the internships or whatever it might be that you would like to use that extra income for. And then what I want you to do now is also cherish your time right now. Don't look at it as, oh, I'm not getting to do this. I'm not getting to do that. Actually begin to say, you know what? It is a good life. I'm not doing everything maybe that I want to, but I'm going to be able to do everything I want to in time. And I'm going to start to work on that right now. You have to give gratitude for what you have right now, or you won't be given more because you're not showing that gratitude now. So why would you be given more if you can't be grateful for what you have now? And really begin to visualize and look at yourself as already living that new life, because you are. One step at a time. You're moving into it slowly, and that's okay. And begin to realize, too, that the now that we're talking about right now is the eternal now. When you wake up tomorrow, it's now. When you wake up the next day, it's still now. So we have to start living now, right? And begin to slowly step into the life that we want to live in the present moment. And then you can carry it forward always into the new, evolving you. So I hope this has been helpful today. I appreciate you, as always, tuning into our Motivation and Mindset Mondays. I hope it gave you a lot to think about. And if it was helpful, please do feel free to share this show with anyone you believe it could serve. Take care, everyone. Ever wonder what the best sauna, blue blockers, sleep trackers, wake lights, salt lamps, or other health gadgets are? Or what about the top non-toxic mattresses, sheets, soaps, bath products, toothpaste, and cookware? Or would you like to know the cleanest choices for hemp parts, meal delivery services, supplements, and much more? I personally curated, researched, and now created a resource page of all of my top picks that continues to grow each week. These are the exact products I use in my own life, with my family, in my private practice, and they're the ones I trust. To find out all of my up-to-date recommendations and all the details, simply head on over to stephencabral.com/resources.